Republicans had demanded. Let's ask somebody who should know. Another powerful Tea Party member, Congresswoman Michele Bachmann, Republican of Minnesota. Welcome, Congresswoman. Thanks for being here.
Liz, David, always a pleasure. Thank you.
Well, so where do you stand on this? This is something that a lot of Republicans heard from their constituents about, ran elections and won elections on pushing for an extension of the tax cuts, and now is the tone actually changing?
Well, we applaud the extension of the tax cuts for 2 years. I think that's something we can all live with, a 2-year extension. The downside is the ramped up spending that the bill contains, and it's actually quite a lot. It's $56 billion for the unemployment extension, but even bigger is probably potentially $140 billion a year that we're going to blow open in the Social Security Trust Fund. That's an additional deficit every year going forward. Somehow that's got to be paid for. And I think the results of the election night this year said, stop the spending, stop the increase in deficits, and unfortunately that's what this will continue. My fear is once this bill passes, within 10 minutes, I think we'll hear calls from President Obama asking to lift the cap on earnings so that all earnings will be subject to Social Security tax. Also, I think we may hear the president's call for an increase in the employer's share of the payroll taxes of an additional 2%. That would not be good for job creation going forward. And really, I think that's the lens, David and Liz, that we need to make our decision through. Will it add jobs or hurt jobs? And right now, members of the House of Representatives, we're having the discussion.
By the way, if that does happen, if they lift the cap on Social Security taxes, that would amount to a bigger marginal tax increase than the one that had been planned before.
Right.
So this would be a huge deal breaker. Okay, here's the question, though. Jim DeMint said yesterday, I've talked to a number of conservatives who have grave concerns. I know a lot of them won't vote for this unless it's paid for. Well, clearly now it's not paid for. Will you vote for it?
Well, we don't have a one word yet down on a sheet of paper. And if there's anything that people said, they want us to read the bills before we vote on them.
As it is now, would you vote for it or not?
Well, I'm in process myself. I haven't made a final decision. I'm going back and forth with my colleagues. There's a number of my colleagues that have said no. There's a number that have said yes. And we're literally right now in the hallways talking about this bill, what we need to do. We want to be responsible. We don't want to see anyone's taxes go up. But at the same hand, we don't want to see taxes raised shortly either. And I think we may see that by lifting that cap and by seeing a move for increasing the employer's share. That wouldn't be good going forward.
This is a little stunning for some people who are watching this right now, and we appreciate your honesty here, Representative, but it was Republicans who were saying, just get it through, extend the tax cuts. This is an emergency. Those were the words that had been used, saying you do not raise taxes at the height, or at least us trying to climb out of a recession. It's almost as if, be careful what you wish for, you may get it. And now I'm hearing from you and maybe some other Republicans, Jim DeMint suddenly saying, I'm not voting for this. It's stunning to see that Republicans who had pushed so hard for this now say, okay, maybe not. Do you guys even know what you want?
Of course we do. There's no reversal in our position. Our position has been all along, we don't want the massive tax increases that President Obama has been advocating. We remain there. But remember, this is massive deficit spending that President Obama has put before us. We're saying no to massive deficit spending, but we also don't want to see anyone's tax rates go up. So this is a Pandora's box, if you will, that we're being put before us. We're trying to be wise and make the best possible decision. And this has just been given to us, and we're trying to weigh this so that we make the best decision for job creation and putting the economy on a strong, secure footing.
Well, would raising the ceiling or eliminating it entirely on income that could be taxed for Social Security, is that a deal breaker?
It would be very bad to raise that ceiling. It would be a very bad move to do. And that's something that we don't want to see happen, nor do we want to see the employer's share increased as well. But again,
excuse me for interrupting. I don't mean to be rude, but would it be a deal breaker? Would you say no, I could not vote for anything that either lifted or eliminated that cap on Social Security taxes?
It would be very hard for me to vote for it. Very hard.
Now,
very hard.
You had Senator Mitch McConnell in with the president doing most of the negotiating here, the Republican Senator Mitch McConnell. And the points that were And throw up the board. We have it written out where, yeah, on the screen you see Mitch McConnell, and also the issues here, which would cut the Social Security tax from 6.2% down to 4.2%, along with the, as we say, the payroll tax cut, 13-month extension to unemployment benefits, 2-year tax cut and extension for all income levels. Isn't that something that we need right now to clear up some of the uncertainty that all the CEOs we speak with here on Fox Business have constantly talked about, saying that's why they haven't hired?
That's why this is so difficult, because yes, we do need to continue the tax rates exactly as they are. That is what we campaigned on. That is what we want. But remember, the bill contains massive spending increases, and they are not paid for. It is massive increase to the deficit. This can be called stimulus 2 because it will ultimately cost approximately the same amount of money as the stimulus. We need to be very sober as we made this judgment. That's why I'm not being coy, and I don't want to be glib. This is a very serious vote that we need to cast, and that's why you're seeing profound discussions occur right now, even as we speak here in the halls of Congress. We want to make the right decision. I think we could have had a far better bill than the one that's before us. Remember, again, the death tax will go up to 35%. Yes, it's less than the 55% we thought it was going to be at, but the American people across the board at almost every income level believes there should be zero death tax going forward. That's what it is in 2010. That's another element that we have to consider.
Yeah. Congresswoman, a lot of business people are looking at this program right now, trying to plan their schedules for the next year. They've already confused with these two sets of books, one with taxes going up, one with them staying the same. Should they take any solace at all from what we've seen over the past couple of days? Because what you're saying is everything still seems pretty much up in the air.
I think what they should be demanding is that Congress pass a clean extension, 2 years of the current tax rates as they are. Nothing else. Just pass a clean extension. That would get passage right now. We could get that through. I wish that's what they would do. I'm a business person. My husband and I have 50
You're a tax
employees.
attorney. You know this matter backward and forward.
And I'm also a tax attorney. And so I come at it as a business person and as a tax lawyer. I see the very real downside very shortly of the payroll tax issue. And I think we will be looking at removing the cap on earnings on the payroll tax, and I think that you will see the call to increase the employer share to 6%. We need to keep this in mind with this vote.
Congresswoman Michele Bachmann, Republican of Minnesota, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
We know you were voting on the floor. We appreciate you rushing to the camera. Thanks.
Much appreciated.
Liz, thank you, David. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. Well, payback.